Hey guys, Danny here. I've got another drone for you today. This was sent to me for review. You can pick this up using the link down in the description. Always check that out because sometimes I put coupon codes down there for you. So we're going to unbox this and take a look. It is a foldable Wi-Fi FPV drone. It comes with a dedicated controller which also has a phone holder built into it. You've probably seen this controller before. It's widely used and copied by a lot of the drone manufacturers. The buttons are labeled and it feels pretty good in the hand. Overall it's not too bad. The phone holder I will show you in a second isn't too bad either. It takes 3 AA batteries. Now let's take a look at the drone. My first impressions were it did feel a little bit cheap in the hand and a little bit light, but overall it's not too bad. It has a little bit of a boring design, but it's nothing to complain about. I mean, this thing comes in pretty cheap at about £30. I have the 0.3 megapixel version. It does have a 5 megapixel version also. This version is about £30 at the time of filming. You can see the camera there on the front. It isn't adjustable. The foldable arms are nice and clicky. They click into place and they don't have any buttons you have to press to unlock them, which can sometimes be slightly annoying with some of the other drones that I've tested. You've got your battery compartment here, and this drone is using a 1800 milliamp hour battery, which is a pretty fair size. It says on the website we'll get 20-minute flight times, but I always like to take a few minutes off of that, so I will let you know the actual flight time that I get. Included in the box is also 4 spare props, 4 prop guards and your USB charging cable. The phone holder is built into the controller. You pull out this little compartment at the bottom. It feels okay. It's a little bit flimsy. You can see it's got quite a bit of flex to it. It should fit most smartphones. Some really big ones you may have trouble, but during my testing it did perform okay and no real complaints there. I would have preferred a different type of phone holder, but as I said, it didn't cause me any real issues. And now onto the flight test. This drone performed a lot better than I actually thought it would. One thing I liked about it in particular, because it doesn't have optical flow positioning or altitude hold, it has a lot of manual control, so you can throw this thing around a lot, do some pretty cool flips of it, and just because of that extra control that you have, it just is a lot more fun to fly a drone like this, I find. If you're a beginner and you really have no experience flying drones, having some of these extra features like altitude hold and optical flow positioning can make a little bit of a difference, because it can make the drone a little bit easier to control. But for those of you who are a bit more experienced, you can see you can throw the drone around, and it's quite fun to be able to do this. When they're very locked and dialed in, sometimes it can be a little bit boring, and the camera you have with this drone isn't the best quality. This is the 0.3 megapixel version, so it is pretty grainy, but the Wi-Fi feed held up really well, and the range for the controller also seemed pretty decent for a drone at this price point. Overall, as I say, I was impressed with how well this performed in general for such a low price. I think you would probably struggle to find a drone as good as this one for such a low price point, especially for what it's advertising to do. The automatic landing and automatic takeoff for this drone also worked well. It's just a simple feature of when the drone is landed, you can hit a button and it will take off for you. When you hit the landing button, it will simply lower down until it touches the ground and the motors will turn off. This worked really well. It does have 3 different rates. On the highest, the yaw is pretty crazy. It spins around really fast. And also the headless mode worked really well for this drone. It's not a feature that I often use, because quite often when I've used it I lose control of the drone because it goes a bit crazy, but this one worked really well. When I put headless mode on, I was able to spin the drone continuously in a circle, which shows that the headless mode is really well tuned, and it worked really well for me at least. Now, this drone was stated to have up to a 20-minute flight time. I knew this wouldn't be the case because it never is. You always have to shave off at least a few minutes. When you're looking online, often they will over-exaggerate the battery life for these drones. Unfortunately, I only got 11 minutes for this, so I don't know if that's because I was flying it so hard or for some other reason, but I only got 11-minute flight time. I still think that's good for the price point that this drone's at, and it is a toy grade drone. Some of them out there you'll get maybe a 15-16 minute flight time, but this I found 11 minutes was pretty good, so I can't complain too much about that. It does have a decent battery size also. Once I got the drone tuned in using the tuning buttons, it did hover on the spot quite well. Not having optical flow positioning though, you will notice the drone drifting if there's wind, so you're not going to be able to leave your hands off of the controls and have it film you steadily. Not having an adjustable camera also is a bit of a bummer, because this one in particular has quite a narrow field of view, so you have to have it quite high in a bit of an awkward position to get yourself in shot, whereas on some other drones you have adjustable cameras, so you can position it to a little bit more of an appropriate level, so you don't have to have the drone as high or as low. Here's some footage that was pulled from my smartphone. When you hit the recording button using the app, you'll have a video that's saved directly to your phone. Now this does come from the Wi-Fi feed, so if there's any breakup or any stuttering, that will be shown in the video also. This is the 0.3 megapixel version, so you can see it is pretty grainy, and I'm spinning the drone here, so that's why it goes a little bit nuts. The camera is not impressive by any means, but because this is a lower cost drone, you can't expect too much. But if it's your first drone, having a Wi-Fi camera feed is still pretty enjoyable, and the novelty does wear off quickly if the camera isn't a great quality like this one. But the Wi-Fi feed itself held up pretty well, so no real issues there. So of course you've probably worked out by now, this drone isn't going to blow you away. I don't have any problems recommending it, especially if it's one of your first drones and you don't really want to spend a lot of money, because really it's not too bad for the price. If you spend a little bit more, you will definitely get more value for money, but this one comes in at such a cheap price, it's hard to knock it too much. I really hope you enjoyed the video, guys. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing for more videos like this one, and of course I will see you in the next one.